Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. It's a rainy day today, and whenever it rained, when I was a kid, the one thing I knew we were going to be eating was lentil soup. Actually, my mother used to call it the day of lentils, or in Arabic, Yom Adas. So we knew for sure, rain means lentil soup. So I'm going to be following the tradition today. I'm making lentil soup. All right, so I start by turning on the heat. Okay, so while it's heating, I want to tell you what kind of lentil soup I'm making. Now, there's all different kinds of lentils. There's brown, there's green, there's, different types and different varieties, and they all have different textures. Now, this particular lentil soup, I'm going to be using this kind of lentil. Now, it's known as red lentil. Okay, even though it's orange, but it's known as the red lentil. And this is actually a split lentil. It has a very tender outside, and it actually, when it cooks, it breaks down and it becomes really nice and creamy. So this is the kind of lentil that we want to use. So I'm going to start now that my pan is nice and hot. And this is actually a great dish that you can do with one hand, and I'm going to prove it. I mean, my hand is still, it's getting better, but I can use the one hand. There's no excuse not to cook. So here is my olive oil, onions. Okay. Turn down the heat a little bit because I don't want the onions to brown. I just want them to turn translucent. And then add my garlic to my onions. All right. And then just stir. All right, and again, I don't want to brown these. All I want to do is just make them translucent. And you'll know when you're sauteing your onions and garlic that they're going to smell beautiful. It's a beautiful, fragrant smell. The onions are nice and translucent now. Okay, I'm still on medium heat. And now I'm going to add in the lentils. Okay, now I've already washed and rinsed the lentils. Okay, I didn't soak them. There's no need to soak these, but that's why they're just a little cakey right now. They're a little moist. So the lentils go inside all of them. Okay, just like that. And then just stir. And then I also like to add to this something that isn't actually traditional. I mean, this is something that I like to add because I love lentil soup when it's nice and creamy, but I also like to have a little bit of texture in it. And what I add here is something called Freekeh. Now, if you're not familiar with Freekeh, it's actually a wheat that's picked green when it's immature. And what we do in the Arab world, that's what we do is we set it on fire. Like they pick it while it's green, they set it on fire, they burn the husks on the outside, and then the smoky flavor actually permeates the kernel. So this is actually smoked cracked wheat. Okay, now it's quite easy to find nowadays. It's not really difficult like it used to be. You can find it, but if you can't find it, you can certainly substitute for Burghul. Okay, which is also a cracked wheat, but it doesn't have the smoky flavor. Okay, so I'm going to stir them together, and then liquid. What do I use? You could certainly use water. I'm going to use chicken stock. Now, if you don't want to use chicken stock, you can substitute for vegetable stock and make this completely vegetarian. So I'm just going to pour in. Okay, so I've totally immersed my my lentils now with the stock, and now I'm going to just give it a quick stir, and I'm going to turn the heat up a little higher, and basically I want it to come up to boil, okay, and then I'm going to turn it down, and basically I'm just going to let it cook and cook and cook till the lentils are actually soft and tender. And the Freekeh that's inside is also cooked. Now it'll still have a little bite to it, a little chew, but it will be cooked. So I'm going to check on my soup so far. We're halfway there. And after about 15 minutes of cooking, you can see how the lentils have actually broken down. So at this point now, what I do is I add in shredded carrots. Okay, so that's going to go in, and the reason why I do that, I'm trying to bump up the color. As you can see, the red lentils or the orange lentils, they actually go almost a creamy beigey color, and the carrots just give it a little bit more color, a little bit more sweetness. It adds a nice flavor to the soup. So I stir it in, okay, to combine completely, and it's not going to take very long for the carrots to cook. And then on top of that, oh, I forgot something. Hold on a second. Hold on. Before the carrots, I want to remove some of the cooked lentils. All right. I'm just going to put these aside, okay, to add to the soup later. All right. It's okay if we've got a couple of carrots in there. All right. And then now I'm going to add in the spices. And the most important spice in lentil soup, in this particular lentil soup, is cumin, okay, or cumin in Arabic. And here I have 2 teaspoons, okay. Now cumin is a very, it's a very special spice, and it's unique, and it almost has a little smokiness in it, in the flavor, which is going to go really nice with the freekeh that's in here. Remember, it's the smoky wheat. I also add in about a half a teaspoon of turmeric, and that's also for a little bit of flavor. It doesn't have a lot of flavor, just a little, and also just to add some of that nice deep orange yellowy color to that. And then again, to bump up the smokiness, I've got a little bit of smoked paprika. Okay, this is not spicy, it's just peppers that have been smoked, dried, and ground. All right, so I give it a good stir. All right, there isn't really that much left now. This is probably going to take another, I'd say maybe another 10 minutes for the carrots to cook and for all these flavors to melt together. The carrots are cooked. All right, so I'm going to turn off the heat and I'm going to puree the soup. Okay, so I'm using this immersion blender. You could certainly put it in a food processor, you know, a little bit at a time, or in a blender if you don't have one of these, but these are really nice and handy. So it actually goes right inside. Okay, so I'm happy with that. All right, so now my soup is actually soup. Now it's nice. You can see how nice and velvety and creamy it is. Okay, there you go. And now I'm going to add in my salt. Okay, or milih, as we call in Arabic. All right, so there's 1, there's 2. Now remember, I didn't put any salt at all. All that's in here are the spices. So this is, at this point, you put in as much salt as you want, how much you want to season it. So what I do afterwards, as soon as it's pureed like this, I actually bring the heat back up again, and I just leave it on low and just let it simmer together. It's already cooked, everything is fully cooked. I just want to finish it. And then when we come back, I'm going to show you how I like to serve my lentil soup. Now the finale, the best part. Now remember the freekeh and the lentils that I pulled aside before. I'm going to add them to the soup. And now this is going to give me a little bit of texture, okay, along with the creaminess. So I'm going to fill my cup. Actually, my hand is getting quite strong now. So that's my soup already, and I have a nice lemon cheek here. There's nothing quite like lemon that cuts through all that earthiness. And then here I have a little bit of Labneh that I'm going to put on top. And this is going to give it a nice little added acidity. Okay, that's really nice. A bit more tanginess here. I have some preserved lemons that I've cut up, and I'm just going to add a few of these. And again, this is going to give me a little bit of nice acidity. Some pistachio nuts with some maple syrup and sugar, and a little bit of cayenne pepper, and I bake them in the oven until they're nice and crunchy and sweet and salty. Delightful. I'll tell you what it's like. the tanginess, of course, with the beautiful earthiness of the lentil soup. Boy, this soup just takes me back to those beautiful times. Mm. When I used to come home from school, and my mother would have had a whole big pot of this. And it was always a rainy day, like I said to you. But don't wait for a rainy day to make lentil soup. You can make it anytime. I hope you give it a try and enjoy it and let me know. And we'll see you next time. Bye.